This is one of the most requested things we get asked for, and that is what, Ma?
Salt and chili chips.
Now this recipe we're doing can also be called salt and pepper chips, but it's typically called salt and chili. And the reason why it's called salt and pepper is because obviously they're using chili peppers, so that's where the pepper comes from. But for us, salt and pepper has not marinade, but like a mixture of seasonings to make it salt and pepper, including actual table pepper. That's just the differences in our eyes, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay, so first off, we need to make our chips, don't we, Ma?
definitely. That's why it's called chili chips.
Yeah. So most takeaways nowadays are going to be using frozen, aren't they?
Yeah, frozen or brought in.
They're probably going to pick them up from either the local supermarket or local cash and carry. There's no particular brand that any takeaway prefers over another. Literally what they want to use. So when people go ask what kind of chips they're using, it could be anything that you can find in a Western supermarket or any particular brand that you can find in a cash and carry anywhere. So it's nearly impossible to say what brand they're using. But we, on the other hand, have always done triple cooked chips, which we actually technically quad cook these, but we'll show our process on how we make these. We used to sell these for £2.40 a portion, and people would literally go, how much? We'd tell them the process behind them, and this was 16 years ago. No one really knew what these were back then.
Not very many people.
So they would be like, okay, let's try them. Tried them, and they would literally come back in within 2 or 3 minutes of trying them and being like, why are you not charging more? I said, because you just complained about the price. They're so time consuming. And one of the reasons why we don't do them anymore is because they take us 3 days from start to finish. Because we really care about the food we serve, there's no way on earth that these are going to go out, even if they've only had half the amount of time. So we'd often sell out. People would look into our fridge, seeing us scoop up the last couple portions. We say we sold out of chips, see the other chips that we've
Batch
had
for the next day.
yeah, and say, well, why can't I have those? Because they're quite literally not ready
Not
yet.
ready, so we'd rather sold out, not
Well, yeah, we'd rather
sending out
not.
our food, not the right one we want to send out.
Yeah, because it's only going to make us look bad in the future, and it's about consistency with food. If you're consistently good, that's the best you can possibly be. Serving something that isn't ready is something we would never do. So that's the reason why the price of our chips was a little bit more, because once we've sold out, and we would sell out often, they're gone. And the real estate that this would take up in a fridge of stock that we could possibly have sold that day is also taken up. So we can't take any extra money than what we have in the fridge. How do we make these, Ma?
How do we make that? Wow, it's a long process. First, you get your marriage piper.
Yeah.
How to be marriage piper potatoes. You peel them, chop them up into big slices. I think I'll let you explain it now. You better than me.
So you want to...
I'll be jumping in by car and all this and all that, yeah.
So basically, you want the marriage piper because it's got high starch content, so that they remain fluffy on the inside when they're finished. That's why we chose the marriage piper. We peel these, like Mum said. When you've cut them up and we want them chunky, you place them into water, which has got salt and baking powder. You don't want to use bicarb for this because it will flavour the chips. You want to use baking powder, and what the baking powder does, it lowers the pH, which slightly breaks up the outside of the chips, meaning that they can go crispier. And we're going to soak them once they're all cut for about 15 to 20 minutes in that water. Then we're going to take them out, place them into hot water. It has to be hot, not boiling, but over 90 degrees C. If you're boiling, you run the risk of damaging your chips, or essentially making them so they cook through too quickly and then break apart, so you don't get left with a good looking chip. And into that water, we've added salt,
Baking powder.
and baking powder. We don't add salt in the first soaking, sorry. It's just baking powder in the soaking. My bad. And then it's salt and baking powder.
During the boiling process.
Blanching. We're not boiling them. You don't want the water to be boiling.
Blanch, yes.
This takes around 8 to 9 minutes, or until when you lift your chips up, you can see that they're sort of like fraying along the edges, especially the sharp edges. That's the best place to look, because if the edges are no longer sharp, they're probably going to be near cooked. So once these have been blanched, you want to scoop them out gently and place them onto a tray, and you want to place them in a single layer, and you just want to gently turn them with a spatula just to knock them about a bit. and then let them sit. And letting them sit means that the residual heat in the chip takes away a lot of the moisture from the outside, which means that they go crispier better. When they're cooled, you place them into a plastic container and then you cover them with a porous, food safe like materials. We use craft paper, which is food safe. You place that on top. You don't want to use greaseproof paper because it's not porous and doesn't let the vapors through. I say that, but if that's all you have that's food safe, then you can use it, because as long as it's not completely airtight and the moisture can be taken out, that's absolutely fine. It won't be as good, but it's fine. Then we're going to place this into the fridge for a minimum of 24 hours. And what that does, which is the second cooking process, so the blanching is the first, the second cooking process is actually having it in the fridge for 24 hours to take away a lot of the moisture from the outside. Now, this is where we finish or change our process slightly from the triple to the quad. And we wouldn't market as them as quad because to us they're just triple cooked chips, but we would quad cook them. So once these have been in the fridge for 24 hours, we'd then blanch them in hot oil so they're hot all the way through, but not cooked on the outside. And then we'd take them out and then put them in the fridge. Again, same process as this, for another 24 hours. And that is really important because that extra 24 hours is going to take even more moisture out of it. So you ended up with an extra crispy chip. The issue is after that 24 hours, you have that day to use these, because if you don't, they dry up too much and they literally become sort of
quite hard
pebbles. Yeah.
Yes.
So you have one day to use them, which is why we used to charge quite a bit for our chips, because it's a lot of work. A 3-day process. We'd close the shop, hand peel our potatoes, which would peel like 2 25 kg bags of potatoes by hand, blanch them, and by the time we left it was like nearly 3 o'clock, and then we have to be at work for 7 in the morning, and people wonder why we had to charge. We were literally doing Michelin star, which these were pretty much only found in Michelin star places at the time, cooking for £2.40 of chips, and they charge 20 quid. But that's how much we care about the food we send out. It's still the same now and it always will be. So, yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And then the fourth cooking process, obviously, is the finishing off. So we'd use these, once they've been blanched and they've been sat for the 24 hours or the second blanching, we would then use these and really super hot oil until they're cooked all the way through. And they're just amazing every time. We literally would get, I've tried to find the comments. Since we moved from that place, we got rid of the TripAdvisor for it, which is a bit of a shame. We should have kept it up for the comments, because some people were saying we've eaten in Michelin star restaurants before and our chips were better than their triple cooked chips. But that's because they're cooked 4 times. But anyway, that's on that, and we'll get on with the veg prep. And if you notice the audio is odd, it's because we didn't have...
We forgot our
mics, so we've had to refilm this bit, and the audio of us doing some of the prep or explanations is coming from the different camera, but it doesn't have this, so it's coming from the room camera, so it's slightly echoey compared to these. So apologise for that in advance, but hopefully you'll learn some stuff in this video and it will be worth it. We've got some spring onions here. Need quite a lot of them for this, so we're just going to
chop it down.
Yeah, just going to trim the tops off. And there's no hard and fast way of doing this. You just chop them however you want, thin, thick, however. One of the reasons I don't like cutting them like this is because they curl around and it just irritates me when they touch my hand at the side. I mean, when I'm in the shop I do actually cut them like this, but when I'm at home I cut them individually, just because I think I don't have the time then. I'm not worried about it.
Do you know what? The onions family are heartbreakers.
Because they make you cry.
Yes.
Yeah. These are actually making my eyes go a little bit.
Feeling in the eyes.
That's not.
Feeling in the eyes.
That's not the song.
Yeah, feeling by feeling something.
I feel it all around me.
Yeah.
I feel it in my eyes. Oh, did you change it deliberately?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that's how you thought the song went.
No.
I'm going to need lots of chilies. You can cut these up however you want again. I'm just cutting it like this. Now, I've actually only got the red ones in here for colour, but it's the green ones that give us this flavour because they have an almost green pepper sort of flavour behind them. So the green peppers are more important. If you can only find one type of pepper, for this dish it should be green, as in chili pepper. And you can use sort of like any variety of chili you want. If you really want to go mad and use Scotch bonnets, by all means, Nagas you can. If you're not too good on the old bird's eye chilies, you can use those really thick, normally called sweet chilies.
Yeah, you can use that, anything you like.
Yeah. So if you don't like chilies, this probably isn't one for you. But if you are here watching it to support, you are a legend.
Yeah, you are. Hit the like buttons and comments.
Yeah. Next we have lots of garlic, and I mean lots of garlic. So these are actually quite big cloves.
Cloves garlic.
And we're just going to finely chop these up. Again, you can cut them as small or as thin or as... what words am I looking for?
Crush.
You can crush it up, yeah, but we're just going to cut them. So just go straight down the middle of most of these. Just come across them like this. And this is where we go fine. So then we go... Finer the better, but again, it's personal preference. I love the smell of garlic.
Yes, it's nice. And the green chili.
Together,
smell it, yes.
I would say though, if you're not good with the wok, this isn't probably the best first dish to start with, because you really do have to look after the garlic and make sure it doesn't go over. But you also need a very hot temperature in order to get the flavour right. So once you're a bit more confident with the wok, this is one to try.
Yeah, it's totally right. Yeah, garlic to blend. I think that's about right now.
Yeah. See, lots of garlic. So we have our deep fat fry here. You can obviously do it in a chip pan, but these things are really good, and we'll leave a link below of one of these. They're relatively cheap for what they are. We're going to use semi-old oil, which is, if you've ever run a fish and chip shop before, and I know a lot of you out there who have, the best fish and chips are always made when you fry the fish in the fresh oil and the chips in this semi-used oil. So it's not dirty and it's not completely fresh. Those are always the best chips. So we're just gonna heat this up until it's the hottest it can get. So we are actually going to double fry these today, but not in the same extent, because obviously we don't have the 24 hours to let them sit. So we're just gonna let them sit for 20 minutes and it's gonna have a similar result, but nowhere near as good. So the oil is as hot as it can get.
Yeah. And got the potatoes. Should we do it in two batches?
Yeah, we're gonna do it in two batches.
Otherwise too
much. And we're gonna let that heat up. This is the knocking process, I mean. Gonna let that heat up a little bit. See, the chips are now soft on the outside, and this is where we turn them a bit more. So they're hard on the inside from being in the fridge, but they're soft on the outside, and then we fry that off to lock those spurs in place. This is the most boring part.
watching the potato.
Yeah, you can tell when they're done because they'll sort of start going a yellowy colour. It's really difficult to show you in a video because the colour is always slightly off. If you sort of see the difference, they're nearly done now. They're nearly blanched. But those are quite pale compared to those. It's not like a browning colour. Not yet.
Exactly the same.
Do they? So, camera woman, my wife, just told me they look exactly the same in the videos. But they are different, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. If you see it in here, they look different, look.
Yeah, I know, but
You can see that the oil is running away from the chips. You see, there's like a leather coat in it now.
Yeah, but the colour is from the oil itself, it's not from the chips. So they are done. We're just going to drain these off and we're going to let them sit for 20 minutes. But again, if we were going to be doing this in our restaurant, it would be 24 hours. So we've got our chips here. They've been sitting for 20 minutes. Just going to put them into the fryer. Going to do them in half batches because you want the hot temperature of the oil. And then they go. And you want to just leave these because if you move them around too much, it will start knocking off those lovely burrs that you've created on the outside. So we're going to let these sit and fry for about 2 minutes and then we'll start turning them. Okay, so they're starting to colour, so we're going to have to move them, otherwise you'll get spots where they're not touched, where they've been touching each other and they can't brown at that point. Looking good, you can see that's what you're looking for, that roast potato sort of where the outside layer is almost separating from the inside because this inside is still nice and and are fluffy, and the outside's going crunchy, so like giving you that roast potato-esque feel. Honestly, I don't miss making these. Just so many hours.
Yeah, miss eating it.
Yeah.
Wow, I think if we could charge the price that we're supposed to, yeah, I will make it again.
Yeah, what they're worth.
But not for undercharge for that amount of work. Wow.
Very nearly done. Just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Can you see that? It's almost lamination. Perfect. Look at that. Oh, look at that. That just needs so much salt and vinegar on it and can get in my face. Oh, just going to let them drip dry for a couple of seconds, and then we're going to place them onto some kitchen roll. Ordinarily, you would just serve these up, but because we're making triple cooked, because we're making
Chili chips.
Yeah, salt chili chips, we're not traying them up straight away. Now we want this oil to get hot again before we put that next in. This is what I'm talking about, the lamination. You can almost see like layers. That's what I mean. Like the camera doesn't pick up how delicious these look. So if you knock them about in the fryer too much, that will all come off and you'll just be left with like battens, like smooth sided battens. And I know it's not lamination before someone points it out. It's just a word I'm using to describe the look of it. So here we go. Now you have to work fast with this. You're going to need quite a bit of oil. I'm going to turn on the heat to a high heat.
Get it to the right temperature, and the heat is on.
Yeah, and it needs to be hot. So when your oil is hot, we're going to throw in our spring onions, our garlic, salt.
Hashtag #MSTMassive.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, you got it right. And then we're going to cook this off. It's getting hot now, so we're going to bring off the heat.
You can smell it.
And add chilies.
Yes.
And this is where it differs from ordinary takeaway style of cooking, which is not what we're doing here, is we're going to wait for this to cool down a little bit before we put our chips in, because the heat from the pan will make the chips go stodgy.
Soften.
Yeah.
You don't want that, no.
No, you don't want that at all.
You could smell the aroma now.
Yeah.
With all that mixture of the garlic and the spring onion. Smell amazing.
So we're going to put our chips in, and we're going to throw in some extra salt and a tiny bit of MSG. Some places will add a tiny bit of white pepper, but I don't think it needs it, and also chili flakes. And then we're just going to run the chips through. There you go, salt and chili
chips.
How we would have done them, or how we would do them if we were still doing our triple cooked chips, which we don't. So here we go. Ma?
Yeah.
I'll pick up this one because it looks like my favourite. Actually, I'll save that for my wife. She really wants that one.
Oh, this one. Oh, let's cook this one. Look at that. Get some of this one in. Some chili in. Oh, look. What flavour? It's amazing.
They're lovely, fluffy inside, crispy on the outside. And these have been sitting for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, if overnight even will be wow. Will be just wow. Wow, wow.
So good, right?
This dressing is beautiful. Full of flavour. And the spice, the garlic, and everything, just sum it up.
I prefer this over
version,
salt and pepper.
Yeah.
To me, salt and pepper, still really good, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot going on. And sometimes it can be a bit, not overwhelming.
Overpowering.
Overpower a lot of the other flavours you're going to get with a Chinese takeaway. This, on the other hand, will work with pretty much 90% on the menu.
But it's what you like. Someday I prefer that one, someday we prefer this. It's just entirely up to you, whatever day your day is like, how you want to eat it, okay?
Yeah, whatever your day is like, you eat the chips how you want to eat them. Because people who tell you how to eat food are not your friends. You eat whatever you want to eat, how you want to eat it. There isn't really much more we can say about this, other than they're delicious.
Just enjoy.
Yeah, it's exactly what it says on the packet. You guys have had chili, you've had garlic before. I will say, this is probably one of the only times I'll have chips with rice, because this stuff here, this crumb I call it, is just...
It just sum it up so so amazingly
Yeah.
tasty.
I think if you don't like chili whatsoever, this is going to blow your head off.
Yeah. Or don't put it in if you don't like the chili.
Yeah, you don't actually have to put the chilies in. You can substitute them for some green peppers, just chop them up really finely.
Yes. Yeah.
And it works as well.
Or the red pepper.
Red.
Thank you for watching.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We sell stuff like the MSG and our cookbooks on our web store. If you want to know where that is, just comment below. And the written recipe and method for this is up for Recipe Vault members as a thank you for supporting the free content.
A big shout out to all our supporters.
Yeah, so
thank you.
Massive thanks to patrons, channel subscribers. Your names are flying up at the side here. So yeah, massive thank you.
Yeah, and to the new subscriber as well. Thank you very much.
Yeah, hopefully you can learn some stuff from us and
enjoy cooking.
I'll keep eating the chips.
Yes. Happy cooking, happy eating.